Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. So I'm just waiting for my email to load up so that I can share with you the email that was forwarded to me by our admin here on African Confessions. So she has been having this conversation with that pastor. If you still remember him, we shared his story from part 1 up until part 3. So I'm going to read for you the messages that she was having the conversations with that pastor. So the message reads like this: Dear African Confessions, I've been busy such that I failed to find time to write to you. However, today I got myself some time. I became the most powerful pastor in my country because people love to see miracles, and I understood the assignment that was given to me, and I specialized in making my church the most dramatic church. I made sure that every Sunday there was a miracles segment. People would come from all the corners of the country to come and witness what they would have heard on Facebook and would have watched on TV. We established a TV channel, and the blind would see, the crippled would walk, cancer would flee away at my command. But all of these miracles were just staged miracles. All of this was acted out. Unfortunately, a lot of people would think that it was true. Let me explain on how this will be done. I would talk to a recruiting agency to get me some good actors. These people would come and meet me and would rehearse everything that would be acted on the stage. These actors would sign a non-disclosure agreement, and the rule would be, if you disclose anything, you are a dead man. Fear would be instilled in these people, and come Sunday, everything will go on very well on the stage, and the camera crew would focus on the drama, broadcast these miracles on all of our TV channels, Facebook, and also our YouTube channels. In my previous email, I indicated that I was given this other God, that I'll sacrifice blood and sprinkle this blood on that God. Maybe let me do a revision. I was given a small God by the witch doctor, and this God, I will worship it by sleeping with a lot of women, and this is a way of worshiping this goddess. I slept with a lot of women, and I was not even allowed to marry, and even fell in love with these women that I got involved with. I would go to church sometimes drunk, even high on drugs, and yet my followers were very blinded. The power that I was given by this witch doctor made me to become untouchable. That goddess was only supposed to be worshipped by me and to be seen by only me. I had to move with it in my car, and when I was home, I kept this goddess of mine in this other room that I called my holy room, the Holy of Holies. No one was supposed to enter into that room. Every 3 months, I was supposed to sacrifice to this goddess, and this I'll do with the fluids that I got from all the ladies that I slept with. I would then sprinkle blood on the goddess, and this thing had a terrible smell from the chicken blood. Every Sunday, I would then lick it for authority and power to call the demons. Every time that I said the name of the demons will take charge of the church, and the women in the church would fall. Men would cry. It was confusion and blasphemy in the eyes of the Lord. There was one lady whom I slept with, and she thought that I'll be interested in her since I was a church pastor. In her eyes, she saw herself as the pastor's wife, and she had high hopes that I was going to divorce my own very own woman, and then I was going to get married to her. But little did she know that she was just being used as fuel for my powers. She tried to go and report to the elders again and again, but nobody ever believed her, because everyone saw me as holy. They saw me as God on earth. She wanted to destroy my ministry, and the way that I was hungry for power and fame, I would not allow anything or anyone to come and disturb everything that I had worked hard like this for all my life. This whole ministry thing had clouded my mind such that it became such an demonic obsession. Everything stopped to be of God, and it was all about me. Throughout the service, people will be shouting my name as if I was God. Yes, there were many Sundays that I felt as if I was God. Yes, I was God on earth. She later went to the newspaper to share a story on how I had slept with her, and the story was published, and I became one controversial pastor, and yet my followers were so blinded with loyalty. She was obsessed with me, and she was like a dog with a bone. She would not let me go, and I understood where she was coming from. She was too cultural, and I had just broken her virginity, so I had to marry her. I became annoyed by this lady, and remember, I was not allowed to marry her and even fall in love with her because of the agreement that was between me and the devil. Even that woman that I call my wife, she was not enjoying me because I'll just have sex with her here and there, and I was not even supposed to marry any other woman. If only she knew that she was not fighting with the true men of God, she would have just stopped. In my sleep, the goddess came to my dream, and she was very angry. I had to get rid of this woman, or else my church business will go broke. I had come from rags to riches, and I was not in a position to go back to where I came from. Poverty was not the plan for me. I had managed to get the latest cars, houses, have managed to build a very big church and a very loyal following. I was not in a position to let go. Days are evil, my sister, and I want you to know that pastors out there are not there for the love of the gospel, but for the love of power, and the devil will use people who are already in the ministry. The gospel that is preached is all about prosperity and nothing about the second coming of Jesus Christ. Let me take this key note to let you know that the Son of Man is at the door and he is coming. If your pastor told you that in order for you to go to heaven, you need to die first, then he lied to you. Jesus is coming, and all knees shall kneel before him, and all eyes shall see him. If your pastor never tell you these words, then you need to start to question him. You know what I used to do is that I would preach even for 3 months each and every Sunday, and I'll never mention the name of Jesus, but people will be so much happy. They will glorify heavens whenever I'll mention the word money. Let money rain into your pockets right now. I declare that you are rich. Let money fall down from the heavens into your pocket. Then people will celebrate. But no one ever noticed that I would rarely use the name of Jesus even up to 3 months. People these days, they just go to church so that they can be blessed. People just want money. Back to the story. I had to personally kill that lady and make the goddess happy because I was only allowed to use women but never commit to them. My heart troubled me, but I had to appease the goddess. I came up with a plan and I had to lure this girl and trap her. I played along and I made myself as if I was vulnerable till she started to believe that I truly wanted to marry her. I even had some fake divorce papers telling her that I was about to divorce my wife. She gained my trust and she ended up agreeing to come and visit me. I had other people from the dark world who are in the ministry. They had come for this ritual to be part of this event. Whilst me and this woman, we were busy having sex, those people from the dark world, they were surrounding the house that me and this young lady we were were sleeping in. They went around the house whilst me and her, we were busy having sex. This young lady, because this was a spiritual thing, she could not hear anything, that outside there were people who were singing. So they went around the house singing Joshua's song. They were singing like, let the walls of Jericho fall, let the walls of Jericho fall, as they went around the house. Finally, after we had sex, me and this young woman, they started to celebrate, but she did not even hear anything because it was just spiritual. So the reason why they were singing Joshua's song, let the walls of Jericho fall, the walls of Jericho that they meant was her body. The moment that they started to celebrate, it was because inside her body they had placed a demon, and this demon was going to cause sickness inside of her body. That is why they were celebrating, saying, let the walls of Jericho fall. After me and this young lady had finished whatever that we were doing, I mean the love making, we just lay there in bed as we talked. I mean, she is the one who did all the speaking. I mean, this young lady could not just shut her mouth up. She kept on talking and talking, telling me that after our wedding, we were supposed to go on this honeymoon of her dreams. She took out her phone, then she went on her Instagram. She scrolled down, then she showed me some of the videos that she had saved, telling me that she already knew what her wedding gown was supposed to look like. I was so irritated with whatever this young lady was telling me because I knew that none of this was ever going to happen. There was no wedding that was ever going to happen between me and her, and this was going to be our last night together because she was only here for only one purpose only. I needed her blood. After she kept on talking and talking, I had to force my spirit to leave my body. My sister, each and every human being that is alive today, they have a body and also they have a spirit. Some they call it the subconscious mind, some they call it the soul, but to us we just called it the spirit. So each and every night when you go to sleep, there is that time whereby your spirit is not fully connected to your body. That is when you dream the most. So we were trained how to exit out of our own body. So the way that one can exit out of their own body is that the spirit comes from the top of the head, then down to your toes, then you exit your own body. Many of the occultic grandmasters that I've met, and some of them that I know personally, they forbid their own students from attempting to exit their own bodies without the supervision or the grandmaster. They say that this must be only done under the supervision of the grandmaster, or at least if one or two of the occultic brothers or occultic sisters are there present with them. The biggest fear is that if one exits their own body and then there is no one left attending that body, one with the know-how what to do when the spirit exits the body, upon returning, that spirit might find out that the doorway to that body has been closed. My sister, go out there and research how most of the famous people die. Some of these, they are very ultra rich, but the way that they die, there is a mystery behind. Most of them, they are just found dead in the morning. Most of them, they can be found maybe dead in the bathtub. But a poor man can just go to the hospital, then they can die peacefully. But these people, when they die, I tell you that when they are about to die, there is no peace at all. If I tell you how much terrifying it is for the spirit to come back and to find out that the doorway back into the body has been closed, because if your time that was appointed to you by God for you to die has not arrived yet, even if you are dead in the body, your spirit will keep on living, and it is a terrifying thing for the spirit to live out of the body. So when my spirit exited my body, I then went outside, and the grandmaster was not happy about what I had done. There was a punishment waiting for me. That is a story for another day. I went outside and I explained to him that I was so annoyed by this young woman's babbling. Then I was given the task that I had to end her life so that the ritual can start. Whenever I think about what I did to that young woman's life, already because I was supposed to be punished, when they told me that I had to go back in the house and I had to butcher her spiritually, I had no choice. I couldn't refuse because already I had done the Grand Master wrong. And if he punishes you whilst you are in the spirit, you will be tormented like you've never been tormented before. When I went back inside the house, I had a mission and I was supposed to complete the mission. I walked into the kitchen, then I grabbed a knife and I walked back into the bedroom. I looked at her. She was there sleeping with her head on top of my chest. She was the most lovely young woman that I had ever seen. And there my body was just lying lifelessly without any soul at all. Then she looked up. It was as if she had seen that there was another person in the room. She tried to look around, but she couldn't see anything. She rushed over. Then she switched on the light. Then she rushed back into bed. She tried to wake me up. She screamed when she could see that I couldn't wake up. She thought that I was dead. That is when I approached her because I was afraid that the more that she would keep on pushing me and screaming at me, thinking that I am dead, the door back into my body was slowly closing on me. Then I started to stab her. I stabbed her on the back, then I stabbed her on the left side under the boob until spiritually she was dead. Then she just fell asleep. Then those people from the dark world came into the room. The room was filled with smoke. This was in the middle of the night, and then they started to laugh. I started to laugh too because they had wide open the door back into my body. We harvested all the blood from her. We drank some of the blood, and then they later took the blood to the dark kingdom and disappeared. She woke up in the morning, but she was just like a ghost. I knew what had happened. Her soul had been taken. She was only going to live physically just for a few days. Then she was just going to mysteriously pass away because eventually in the spirit world, they were going to let go of her soul. Then her soul will wander around looking for her physical body. Even if she was to locate her physical body, but without anyone guiding her back into her body, her spirit will just wander around until scientifically she was declared dead. And this is what happened to this young woman. After I had dropped her in town, she only lived for about 2 days. Then at church, I heard the announcement that I already knew what had happened. When they gave the announcement in church that this young lady was in the intensive care unit and she was being assisted by the oxygen breathing machine, I knew that these doctors and all these scientists, they think that they know everything, but what they don't know is that behind this physical body that you see, there is another force of life that once it is taken, you might put that person on the oxygen machine, but that person is already dead. So that night I slept, and the only way to sleep was to use some of the drugs that I was using, because deep down in my mind I was so troubled, and yet the goddess was extremely happy. In my sleep, I dreamt that I was deep down in the ocean and I was surrounded with both men and women of the dark world wearing black gowns, and then they gave me money in a laundry basket. To my surprise, as I woke up the following day, I woke up and right next to me was a laundry basket filled with US dollars, and all that had happened in my dream, but now that money, I saw it in real life. My sister, this is just too much for me when I think about all these things that I did in my past, and yet the love of God still found me. The love of God that will not let go of a sinner like me who went to the world and then pretended to be his child. At this moment, I cannot continue to type this. I'll be back soon. Dear listeners, that is a message that was forwarded as an email to me by one of our admins. We should never take life for granted. We should be thankful for whatever that God has given unto us. Let's meet again in the following episodes.